The Irishman was 10 years in the making, hitting many roadblocks on its way to the screen. The technology wasn't quite there yet, but Scorsese and De Niro didn't let this project die. Here's the making of The Irishman. Robert De Niro was just about to start shooting another film with Martin Scorsese in 2007 when he read a book about World War II veteran turned mafia hitman named Frank Sheeran and decided that was really the movie he wanted to make. Scorsese said, "When Bob presented the book to me, I was very strongly attached." The filmmaker and his star had been deep in discussions with Paramount boss Brad Grey about an adaptation of Don Winslow's crime novel, The Winter of Frankie Machine, which was close to a green light. But when the two read Charles Brandt's non-fiction book about Sheeran, I Hear You Paint Houses, they decided this was the movie they wanted to make. The project sat for nearly a decade. No one was interested in taking a risk with de-aging until Netflix boss Ted Sarandos finally gave it a green light. In 2015, while shooting Silence, Martin Scorsese told his visual effects supervisor, Pablo Hellman, that there was a film he'd been mulling over for quite a while. The trouble was, without the right kind of technology, it couldn't be done the way he wanted to do it. And a Scorsese movie isn't going to get made unless it's made in exactly the way Scorsese envisioned it. Hellman has been with the Industrial Light and Magic, ILM, the visual effects arm of Lucasfilms, for 24 years, starting with Jurassic Park 2, then moving on to the Star Wars franchise, and multiple other visual effect-heavy movies. When he told Scorsese his ideas for creating a younger version of an actor, Scorsese said that it would be a project he'd want to be a part of. Hellman got a copy of the script of The Irishman that night. Hellman came back to the set the next day saying he was in. The filmmakers and cast discussed the ILM technology that stars De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci so they could play characters in their 30s and 40s, all the way up through old age. Scorsese was hell-bent on the actors not wearing helmets or a bunch of dots on their faces. ILM came up with a solution for the de-aging that wouldn't require De Niro, Pesci, and Pacino to wear helmets or have tennis balls on their face. The effects giant had done early tests of De Niro, replaying scenes from Goodfellas to convince Netflix of the technology to make the cast look decades younger. When De Niro saw the new de-aged Goodfellas scene side by side with the original performance, the actor said, "I can extend my career another 30 years. The ILM technology required 2 cameras that each had 3 lenses. It was dubbed the three-headed monster. That wasn't the only technical challenge involved in the production. They shot 309 scenes in 117 locations over 108 days. It was very important for Robert De Niro and all the actors to not have to wear markers on their faces, to not wear a helmet with all the little cameras in front, that the process of getting the movie done had to be the way they normally would do it, because they're method actors, and that sounded like exactly the kind of actor-driven opportunity that ILM had been looking for. The three-headed monster setup consisted of 3 cameras on a rig. The center camera is the director's camera, and to the left and right of it there are 2 infrared witness cameras. On the infrared cameras, there are 2 infrared rings that illuminate the act. You don't see the light out of those 2 cameras since they work on a different light spectrum, but the infrared light normalizes the picture, so there are no shadows on the actors' faces. Then the software, called Flux, takes a look at the images combined with the 3 cameras, and it creates a deformation, or geometry, that mimics the actor's performance. It takes a look at one frame and then renders it. Then it takes a look at the next frame and renders it, and so on until it completes the scene. Because there aren't any markers to be tracked, the software is a lot more sensitive to the way the skin moves. And because the software is deforming the geometry, it's a lot more faithful to the actor's performance. For instance, when the actor is talking and the words reverberate through his face, software picks that up really well. And that's why the dialogue hit in the right places as opposed to doing keyframe animation, in which you're basically making up the way the dialogue is delivered. The first time that Joe Pesci took a look at the camera rig, he made a comment about it being really big. He said, "You're putting this in front of me and I don't even know where to look." But little by little, they all got used to it. Because the technology was completely separated from them, and they were not going to change any of the performances, they were very interested. De Niro as well was very interested in the technology, and he was always around working with ILM. The movie was released on Netflix in 2019 and was well worth the wait. Running time is about 3.5 hours, and I do recommend you check it out. Even if you don't like mob or killing movies, check it out for the de-aging process and tell me what you think. I'd like to thank you for checking us out. Please subscribe for more videos just like this.